Hello there, and welcome back to the First Descendant. Season 1 is now upon us with the pre-season ending, and I figured now would be a great time to just talk about my thoughts and feelings on the game. I've completed the campaign. You guys haven't seen it yet on the channel because my recordings are way behind, but I'm well into hard mode now. I'm grinding out all of that stuff, so I've played enough now to sort of give my proper first impressions, talk about things I think they could improve. Yeah, just generally, hopefully, maybe just get some thoughts out onto the internet, and maybe those thoughts will be well conveyed enough that maybe they reach the ears of some people who can actually, do something about them. Because I really, really like this game, and I think that is I want people to keep that in mind when I'm talking about the game. I might sound frustrated at moments, but I am really enjoying playing this game for the most part. I think this has quickly become one of my favourite free-to-play games. I think there's been a lot of stuff on the internet that some people have got issues and frustrations with the game, some of which I think are quite justified, some of which I think are a little bit more eh. So I'm going to start with positives. So first things first, moment-to-moment gameplay in this game, it's improved vastly since the betas and all that kind of stuff. I think the game has just gotten so much better. Everything feels a lot more responsive. They've got the servers under control now after a bit of a rocky launch, and everything feels a lot smoother now. There's still hitches every once in a while, but it's a lot rarer now. That's all been fixed, and the game is running kind of as it should for the most part. There's bits and bobs here and there, but it's nothing crazy bad. I love the way that everything in this game is earnable for free. I think that is fantastic. I think for people who have got the time, and for people who, absolutely don't want to spend any money on the game, this is literally phenomenal. And even if you don't buy anything, and even if you do a minimal amount of grinding, there is still a lot of game here that you can enjoy for nothing. You literally just log in and you play. The shooting feels great. The movement there's a few moments where I think movement could do with improvements. There's some jankiness to the grappling sometimes, but for the most part, it feels really good. There's a good sense of momentum when you sort of get swinging around and stuff. And most of the characters feel pretty good now. I think when the game first launched, Sharon felt kind of a little bit broken. Her stealth didn't always work properly, and it was a bit weird. That seems to have been sort of ironed out now, and everything is sort of, as far as I can tell, working as it should be. So yeah, just in terms of how this functions as a game, I think it's on the right track now. They've got a good base. I think this is a very, very good base to work off of. Very much as Warframe at the beginning was a good base for the devs to work off of and improve, and we've all seen how that game has evolved over the years. This could very much do the same, I think. Some things I want to defend the game over before we start talking about some of my nitpicks. A lot of people were not very impressed with the Season 1 announcement that this content was going to be staggered out and stuff. I personally don't really get this. All that's going to happen if they bunch the content together is you're going to grind the crap out of it, you're going to get bored before the end of the season, and yeah, I don't know, I don't really get it. I think the game is doling out content in a reasonable time frame. I mean, some games go years without an update, and I guess that I get that this is a live service, but I still think they're rolling out content at a reasonable pace. It's not been that long, and we've already had 2 Descendants be added to the game. 2 brand new Descendants since launch. That's fantastic. I think they've done a really good job with that. I think people need to chill out just a little bit. They need to be a bit more patient. Just, give the devs time to cook up whatever they're cooking up. Make sure that everything is polished and ready to go. We don't want stuff being launched half-baked. If something's not ready to come out, it shouldn't be out. That we also don't want the content to become overwhelming as well. I think drip feeding it is actually the correct way to do it, because otherwise you end up with a Warframe situation where there is now so much to do in Warframe that a new player is just instantly gonna die. They're just gonna, their brain will just explode, because there is just so much to do in Warframe that you just, starting that game is unfathomable to me. As someone who has done most of the content in that game, even looking at it, zooming out and looking at it, I'm my God, that was a lot. Keep the content nicely paced. Don't rush it all out. Don't think, oh my God, players are going to leave. Players will come back. When you release something good, players will return. If the game is good and the content is good, players will come back. They will. The other thing that I wanted to defend the devs on a little bit with this one is drop rates. People are obviously complaining about the drop rates. Like, some things are like less than 10%. Some things go, what is it, like 6%, I think is like the lowest drop. It might even be 3%, which I will admit is quite steep. Maybe double that one to 6. But if that is what it is. Um, the fact of the matter is, some things are supposed to be a long-term goal. And if you don't have any long-term goals, there is no point in playing. And if you really, really are impatient, you can buy the Descendants. And the basic Descendants aren't that bad. You don't have to spend a crazy amount of money to buy a basic Descendant. The Ultimate Descendants are a lot more pricey, but you don't need an Ultimate Descendant. You genuinely don't. It's like Warframe. It's like primed Warframes. You don't need them. If you do have a primed Warframe or an Ultimate Descendant, that's going to be better. But you don't need them. The only thing that swings you towards getting an Ultimate is there are some mods that can only be used on Ultimate Descendants, but those are quite late gamey things that you're going to be grinding out anyways, so odds are you will eventually get an Ultimate Descendant at some point. The drop rates, yes, they can be a bit harsh, but that's kind of the fun of it. It's like, you get that ultra rare thing. It's amazing when that actually happens, and it might take you ages, it might take you weeks, but you'll eventually get it if you persist. You will. Don't get me wrong, I've had my moments. I mean, in Warframe, I've been grinding since the game came out, since this mod came out. I want the mod Adaptation in Warframe because it's a fairly good defensive mod for your Warframe. And I have been grinding arbitrations since they were introduced, and I have never gotten it. I've never gotten it to drop. And you read on the internet people being like, well, it's easy, you just keep doing the arbitrations and you get it eventually. It's been years. I've not gotten it. But I still enjoy that game, and it's not essential. And that's my point here. I think you can enjoy the game on a budget without having to pull your hair out over stupid percentages. Let's see how much Glay is. Let's actually find out in real time. She's 600, and 600, I mean, I've got 600. I could buy Glay right now if I wanted to. Where is Caliber? So 600 is what we would need. So, I mean, you'd have to buy the 1599 one, but you'd have some left over, so you could probably get a skin for her, or a new hairstyle or something like that. Which, honestly, if you know you're going to be playing that character for ages, not the end of the world. One thing that I would like to see, maybe, as an improvement on the system, maybe, is giving you a trial. Maybe from this page, for example, if I were to, say, click on Haley, maybe it would be cool if it offered you the ability to trial them in, a little linear segment or something like that. That would be kind of cool. Maybe give you a level 40 version of the character just to try out quickly. But that would be nice. That would be a good way to get people lured into getting each Descendant. Just put a trial in there so that I can try out the character before I decide to either spend hours of my life grinding them or, spend money to get them. But otherwise, I think, there's a lot of good stuff here that you can do for free or on a budget. I've bought the Battle Pass, and I've spent the 1599 one once, and I did that to get a skin for Jaber, and that was my choice to support the devs. It wasn't I need this. It was this skin's pretty cool, and I've been enjoying the game, so I'll give the devs some money. I've just been paid, so whatever. And I want to be clear, I'm not the type of person who will spend hundreds of pounds on a video game, at any stage. I mean, if a new game comes out, I have to think quite carefully before I buy it, basically. I can't just be ooh, 50 quid, ooh, 60 quid. I'll just throw that down and get whatever's new. I can't do that. I think people should chill out, again, with the drop rates. If you don't have a long-term goal, you're not going to be invested in the game. I get that it can feel frustrating sometimes when you've done an outpost for the 30th time and the amorphous material you're after won't drop. And then you do the amorphous material, and then the part you want doesn't drop, so you're like, oh my god, I've got to go and do the outpost again. I get it. I do get it. It's a lot of, components to getting to where you need to be, but that's, why you're playing the game at the end of the day. If you don't have anything to grind for, you're not going to switch the game on. I like the idea of this vendor that they're introducing, maybe to give you a use for those like spare Descendant parts to trade in. Apparently that's going to be coming, did they say September or October? I can't remember when they said. But there's going to be a vendor added where you can trade in old parts that you're not using and stuff like that, which is really nice. So I'm glad that they're doing that. That's about it, really, for like the things I want to sort of outright defend, because there is some stuff here that I think could do with a serious change. The first thing, and this is number one on my list that I wish that they would change in the First Descendant. What is this? Who did this? Who put this at this price? We need to have words. I need to talk to you, whoever you are. Like we need to I need to understand where your concept of money is right now. Like how off your face are you to have put this at this price? Apparently it's popular, which astounds me. There are actually people out there that have bought this. Um, I know why people have bought this. I do not condone it. Like, don't ever buy this. Like, seriously, don't ever buy this. It's not worth it. These are an essential component to the late game, I would say, because you're going to need... What these do is they double your mod capacity. Mods equal power, mods equal defense, so on and so forth. The more capacity you have, the more powerful you will become. When you hit hard mode, you will start to kind of need these. You can get away with using catalysts for a while, but some of the super high-end content, like, you will eventually probably need an energy activator. Probably. Just to put this into perspective, the 15.99 bundle will not get you this. So £16 will not get you an energy... Is it energy activator? Is that what it's called? It will not get you one of those, whatever it's called. You have to buy the £40 bundle to be able to have enough caliber to buy one of those frigging things that doubles your capacity. Bear in mind that if you want to get your capacity up for everything, you need one for your Descendant and one for your gun. If you are struggling to figure out whether to put it on your Descendant or your gun, and you've got like a free one to spend, put it on your gun. Trust me, just trust me, put it on your gun. Don't put it on your Descendant. Unless it's an ultimate Descendant and you know you're going to stick with them for ages, like, use your gun to carry you for a bit, because that is just the fastest way to do it. And it's the most money and time efficient. Yeah, pick a good gun, put your energy activator on that. Don't buy this. You can grind them for free. The problem is the grind is not fun. It's boring. And I think if they made the grind more fun, or they intertwined the grind with a different grind, so that like you're not just farming for this, that might make it a little bit nicer. But as it is at the moment, you kind of have to go out of your way to farm these, or at least that's what I've found. And it's not fun. And then to be presented with like this is just atrocious. I don't have enough time a lot of the time to grind these out. So in Warframe, what I would do is I would just go to the store, I'd spend a little bit of platinum, and I would have the item. And it would not be that much. Oh my god, that's nuts. Okay, to get this item in Warframe, how much do you suppose it costs? I bet you that whatever you've guessed is not correct. It is 20 platinum. Okay. So, alright, I've just looked up the Warframe prices. So bearing in mind you'd have to buy the £40 pack in this game to get one of these. How much do you suppose it would cost you to get it in Warframe? It would cost you to get not one of these, but 3. You could get 3 of these in Warframe for £4.49. £4.49. Let that sink in. £4.49 or £40 for the same thing, but you only get one of them. You can get 3 of them for less than this in Warframe. Like, how did they make such a catastrophic pricing error here? Like this, like everything else. I mean, this is overpriced too, but these you should just never buy because you can farm them really easily. Don't ever buy these. This is pointless. This is overpriced. Don't buy this. This is overpriced. Don't buy this. All of this stuff, whatever. 750, don't care. That's fine. 450, don't care. Fine. It's whatever. Like, I don't care. It's a skin. These are essential in your late game adventures. Both of these. And yes, you can farm them, but it's so time consuming. And if you don't have the time, like, you're going to be drawn to the store. But, like, who can afford this? This is stupid. This is like a game for billionaires or something. It's freaking dumb. £40 to double my mod capacity. That's nuts. That is nuts. That's like almost 10 times the amount. Wait, it's over 10 times the amount. What am I on about? Yeah, it's a catastrophic error. It's a catastrophic error in pricing, and this is the number one thing that they should change in this game. For this alone, I want you to leave a like on the video because I want it to like reach as many people as possible. This isn't acceptable. People shouldn't be buying this. This popular thing is confusing the hell out of me because I can't fathom that people would be this stupid. It doesn't, like, there's no way. There is no way that the community of this game is that thick. I'm so sorry if you have bought one of these. I genuinely am, but you have been bamboozled. You've been completely fooled and ripped off. I'm very sorry that took so long. I'll edit a ton of this out, I'm sure. The next thing that I wish that they would change in the First Descendant. This one is a lot more gameplay focused, and I feel like this one is definitely going to have a lot of people like agreeing with me, hopefully. Stop making me play as descendants I don't want to play as. That's the simple thing that I will say. And to elaborate upon it, this is the simpler version of it. So, void fragments. You need to be using a lightning-based descendant to do it. So, Bunny, Sharon, I don't know about the others. I honestly can't remember who's lightning, but Bunny and Sharon are the two that I've got. Let's say you've maxed out Bunny and Sharon, and you're like, I don't really like their playstyle. I don't really want to play as them anymore. You can't do this activity anymore. And in the late game, these things, these void shards, are essential for some of the late game grind, for some of the grinds to get some of the weapons, some of the descendants. Some of them have alternate ways where you can fight a boss instead and use the materials from that boss battle to do it, but well, you do a mission and then you fight a boss, kind of like you do early on to get Bunny in the early parts of the game, only it's like way worse drop rates. But yeah, this is probably the optimum way to farm out a lot of stuff in the late game at the moment, especially if you're just going into hard mode, because the hard mode bosses will probably mostly be locked off to you because like you won't have gotten there yet kind of thing because you've just entered hard mode. So this will be your primary way of getting a lot of stuff. But to be told like, oh yeah, no, you can't use Jaber, you can't use Valby, like, all those descendants that don't have lightning, you cannot get the rewards from this mission if you do not use Bunny or Sharon or any other electric one. And it gets worse as well. These are the other part of the same farm. You need to do these outposts. These outposts, most of the rewards you just get for completing it, or you have a chance to get them for completing it. You would go into the outpost, you'd shoot a bunch of generators, you'd kill a boss, and then you would have a chance to get Amorphous Pattern 88. That's fine. Additional reward for successful infiltration. This is where the problem starts. Amorphous Pattern 89 might have, I don't know what's actually in Amorphous Pattern 89 by the way, but yeah, let's just say it's got Kyle's genetic code in it, and that is the best drop chance that you have of getting the Kyle genetic code, and you really want to unlock Kyle for some reason, the absolute psychopath. But you need to be playing as Sharon. Like, that is the only descendant that can do this, I believe. I don't think there's any other way. Not only do you need Sharon, but you need to actually have duration mods on her maxed out and stuff. Or some duration mods maxed out. to be able to actually get to all of the generators and shut them off before her camouflage wears off. Like, the idea basically, sorry, I don't know if I explained this actually, I might have skipped it, but like you basically need to stealth it so none of the enemies can see you, and Sharon has invisibility. She's the only one in the game who has invisibility. Um, you need to put duration on her to be able to sustain the camouflage for long enough to actually do it in time before you get spotted. If you've not put resources into Sharon, your options are basically to have not a lot of defense and just go full on duration, try and get it done that way. But then you've still got to fight the boss at the end. So if you've got no defense and you've put it all into duration, you're just going to get one tapped. So you need to have defense, HP, and duration, which is unfortunately going to involve you either using a spiral catalyst or an energy activator. And if you don't like Sharon, that is a tremendous amount of time and just a waste of resources. You should be able to do this grind with any descendant. I'm all for having descendants with specialties. I think that that should be a thing for sure. Like, but they need to rework how it works. Like, I think Enzo's way of doing it is not too bad. I'm not too sure whether the materials you get through doing Enzo's hacking are essential in things. They might be. I can't remember what they're essential for, but I think they might be. But let's just say that, with Enzo, you can do this hacking mini game a lot easier that's in the game. And it will give you extra rewards for completing the hacking mini game if you're using Enzo. This is fine as long as those extra rewards are not essential to progression. Like here, it's essential that you use Sharon to get these rewards. And again, you're just forced. You're forced into it. Like, it's worth mentioning as well, by the way, if you have a friend, say like you're trying to do these, and you want to piggyback off of your friend who's using Bunny or whatever, you can't do that. You physically won't get the shards that you need if you yourself are not using an electric descendant. Fortunately, it's not the same case for these, so as long as you have a Sharon with you doing all of the stealth stuff, you can get all the rewards. If I want to play as Enzo and you're forcing me to play as Bunny, that's not going to be a fun experience for me. So yeah, that's the next thing that I would change. It's literally just don't make me play as descendants I don't want to play as. Give the players freedom to make their own choices. That's the second part. So number three, this is the one that I'm least bothered about, but I'm probably going to make this my final big point, because honestly, I'm not that dissatisfied with how the game is at the moment. It's just that, those 2 points are the main ones, and this third one is a pet peeve that is kind of like, they need to do a bit better in the future, but I'm not that pissed off about it right now. The Battle Pass. The Battle Pass, this one is a lot better. The Season 1 Battle Pass. It's a lot better than the pre-season Battle Pass. You still get a weapon at the beginning, which is arguably going to be, like, maybe pay to win. Who knows? I don't know how good this gun is. Yeah, like, this. Why is this a reward? I can craft this right now, and it uses up almost none of my resources. It's super easy to craft. I have so much of the resource that is required to craft it. I could do it in, like without even thinking about it. This shouldn't be a reward. This is stupid. If you want to put it as an extra reward as well as something else, sure, why not? But just this on its own as a level 2 reward is not a reward. It's dumb. Sprays are kind of lackluster. I don't think I've ever seen anyone using a spray in the entire time I've been playing, so that's kind of whatever. Paints would be fine if they weren't consumables. I can't believe that we are still having this discussion about paint consumables. Like, Destiny went through this and with their shaders, and they fixed it. I think, maybe, might be wrong. Pretty sure they fixed it so that they were reusable and you could use them however you wanted. These, as far as I'm aware, because they have a number next to them when you look in your inventory, I'm assuming these are one use, which is crap. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. Fix this, because this isn't as this stands at the moment, this isn't a reward. Like, I get to make one thing leather matte brown one time. Like, it's dumb. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong on the paints. Maybe I've misinterpreted how the system works. I've actually not coloured anything yet myself. If it's what I think it is, this is awful. Do it more like Warframe again. Give everyone a standard colour palette and then sell other colour palettes. Like, that's a great way to do it. Warframe did it well. Learn from your betters. It's good that they've added the hairstyles. Like, I think that's just something extra, which is nice. I wish they were a little bit better, because it's not exactly good. Like, the hairstyle is kind of meh, but it's something. This, pointless, completely pointless. I'll show you what's in the shop for these. So you earn 30 of them each time. You can also earn extra by over leveling the battle pass at the end. You basically can buy these again. I mean, I can craft over 100 of these at the moment, like, without even thinking about it again. There's no point. Like, as a little extra thing, I guess, sure, but you shouldn't be taking up a battle pass slot with that. XP and Kupier shard gain, gold gain, Descendant XP, stuff like that. I don't actually have a problem with this. I think this is a good way to keep players like playing for the duration of the day or whatever. But I wish that when you claimed them, they went into your inventory as a consumable, so you could choose when to activate them. Because I don't have a lot of time a lot of the time. So I get that you can leave these like in the battle pass unclaimed and then claim them on a day that you know you're going to use them. But I've had it already where I've accidentally claimed an XP boost, and I'm like, oh no, like I have no time to play today or tomorrow. Like, what am I going to do? I've just wasted that XP boost. Yeah, I hate it. I think you should be able to choose. I think they should go into a little inventory. If you want to put a cap on that inventory, fair enough. Like, but like, yeah, they should go into an inventory where you can like choose to activate them. These emotes, actually, I don't hate. I think they're fine, especially the group ones, because I know they're silly and you don't necessarily need these in the game, but like, there is something quite fun about coming back from a difficult mission. Maybe you're a bit frustrated because you didn't get what you wanted or whatever, and then just seeing a bunch of people playing the bongo drums, like, as a group kind of thing. It brings me back memories of playing Final Fantasy Online, where you really feel like the world is kind of alive, and everyone's sort of celebrating and having fun and stuff like that. I actually do like these. I think they should do more of the group ones. I think it's fun to just sort of like you start doing a pose and then other descendants can come and join you. I just thought, yeah, I like that. But yeah, basically just improve the battle pass. Like this one was a slight improvement from the last one, for sure. They've definitely done better this time around, but it needs to be better again. It needs to go like to the next level. Um, like, give me a key stage. Like, if you look at even something like Apex Legends, which is notoriously like crap for its battle passes and stuff like that. Like, they'll have when you buy the battle pass, you would like get a skin like immediately, and it'll be like a purple skin, which is like a rarish skin. But those skins, even in Apex, are usually kind of unique. Um, like, it would be nice to just at the beginning of a season just be like, here's a skin that you can use. If it's character specific, sure, whatever. I'd rather it be a universal skin, so it's like sort of like just an outfit you can put on any descendant. But if it has to be for a specific one, sure, whatever. Maybe do a skin for the new descendant. That would be great. Give a skin for Haley at the beginning. And then when you get halfway through the battle pass, around, maybe 48-ish or something like that, have another skin. Maybe this skin will be a nicer skin, like a fancier skin. You have to have had the battle pass or something. You have to buy it, buy into the battle pass to get it. But have a nicer skin. Like maybe it's like a cool skin for Bunny, for example, because she's very popular. Like, you put the Bunny skin in there, and that's just another thing for players to work towards. So yeah, that's sort of the third point. Just like improve the battle pass, because this isn't fantastic, I don't think, for me. Yeah, honestly, I think that's like my main gripes. I think like as sort of maybe an additional thing, I think like the new player experience, it starts out pretty okay. There's some bits in the middle where you kind of hit walls. Like, and I think I know why they did what they did, and like, so I can't remember what the name of the boss is. I think it's called the Devourer. It's a toxin boss that has these little orbs that heal it. Um, it's a really big wall for a lot of players, and the reason it's a big wall, it's not because the players aren't skillful or whatever, it's because there was no warning or setup to it. It's just instantly like, now you've just got to deal with this. Good luck. And I found myself getting frustrated with it as a player just going into that stage of the game because I was like, well, nothing thus far has prepared me for this. Like I understand why they did it. Like they want people to be upgrading their builds to, get into that late game kind of position. But they should have been teaching that throughout the missions that led up to the Colossus and stuff like that. Just make it a little bit clearer what you're going into. Like build it up a bit more obviously. Because there's so many like situations where I've walked in and I've been one shot and I'm like, wait, why was I one shot? Like, oh, it turns out my build's trash kind of thing. But there was no way of me to know that until it happens to me. That like so that frustration could have been avoided if they had have just been like, yo, you should be getting your build to this level before you like get to this point. Maybe you should upgrade this a little bit more at this point or whatever. It doesn't need to be handholdy, but it needs to be like a direction. It needs to give players a bit more of a kind of like a, hey, elemental damage and resistances are a thing. Stuff like that, like make it obvious. Yeah, this game could do with a little bit of work on that. And I think this is all very achievable stuff. I think the devs could do this. Like they're obviously a talented dev team. Like the game runs pretty well now. And I think that they have a pretty good handle on like what they want to do with descendants and things like that. Like the types of descendants they want to release, the types of cosmetics they want to release. I will say, like, I don't like how many of the skins are like silly. Like, I mean, like, who's who's running around in this? Like, really? I wish there was like more. Apparently, it's popular. Um, but like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't really understand what the idea is here. It's not very in keeping with the aesthetic of the game. I mean, something like this or whatever, like, makes a lot more sense to me. It's like a boss-themed skin. Like, I don't like it, but, like, I get why it's here. There's going to be people that do like it, and I understand why they like it. Why would I want to dress as a firefighter? Like, it's so weird. Like, this, as much as we all appreciate the booty and stuff, like, it's not really, like, very First Descendant-y. Do you know what I mean? They can do sexy skins. Like, they can clearly, they can do sexy skins. Like, and they can make them in a way that fits in with the world and the universe and not make it look really jarring and strange. I'd like to see more stuff that is in keeping with the game's aesthetic and world. Like, don't get me wrong, I think every character should have a silly skin. Maybe a skin that exemplifies their personality or something, like something really wacky. I don't hate the idea of, like the stupid bear costume skin, but I don't think that they should be like the norm. I think they should be the odd one out kind of thing. They should make it so you can recolor the default skins. Is the other thing. Like at the moment, you have to pay like caliber to be able to recolor things. It just makes the game more of a pain. Like convenience is a big deal. Like especially when it comes to like personalization and stuff like that. Despite everything that I have just said, and I know it sounds like I've complained a lot, I think that this game is actually not in a terrible spot. Like, I think the reason I say that is because I think there is a clear path forwards to make this game really good. I don't think that it's lost its way. I don't think that it's stuck. I think that there's like a million ways that they could easily improve the game. It's not complicated. It wouldn't involve them completely recoding the entire frigging game. Like, it's just little tweaks here and there that would make such a big difference. I'm excited for the future of the First Descendant because this dev team is quite responsive. Like, they do actually, like, listen and they try to follow through with, like, helpful things. It doesn't always go according to plan, especially when there's mistranslations and things like that. But they are clearly doing something right. I think, like, they are clearly listening. and they do want to make the game like as good as it can be. Like no dev wants their game to fail. Like, it's not rocket science. Like if it's something they can feasibly do, they will probably try and do it. I think something that a lot of devs need, well, not even devs, a lot of companies need to realize is that with these like cash shops and things like that, lowering the price of these microtransactions might actually result in them having more of a revenue gain because people who otherwise wouldn't engage with the microtransactions can all of a sudden afford to because they're cheaper. And you'll get this entirely new audience for those cosmetic items and those energy activators, for example. If you sold them at the same price as the ones in Warframe, I would have already bought a bunch of them. That's money that you could have had off of me, but you don't have it because it's too expensive, and I can't afford that. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a dumb business strategy. Like, they need to like rebalance stuff like that. Like, a lot of companies need to reevaluate monetization and reevaluate how they are marketing these things at people, who they're marketing at as well. They need to consider their audience. This is a free-to-play game. A lot of people who play free-to-play games are people who don't have a lot of money, myself included. Like, the reason that you don't see a great variety of games on my channel right now is because I quite simply can't afford to buy them anymore because they're too expensive. Like, I look at something and nowadays, I'm a bit older now and I'm kind of like, oh man, like, there are far more practical things I could spend my money on. That's why I'm playing a lot of Zenless Zone Zero. I'm playing a lot of the First Descendant. I've been playing a lot of well, I haven't played that much Apex Legends off camera, but a little bit. Warframe, love Warframe, free to play. Like, and because the microtransactions in Warframe are a lot more affordable, yes, there's expensive stuff in there, but like, for the most part, all the essential things are affordable, and everything else can be earned quite comfortably. That's the secret to a good, long-running, free-to-play game. You need to make it so everyone can participate. There are like billions of people in the world, and so many of them do not have that much money. Like, genuinely. Like, if you market your game at everyone, then you will get more. Trust me. I think that's it. I think that's where we're at. I hate to end it on like a low note, so I'm going to end it on a high note. The First Descendant is a great game. I think people should try it out. Anyone who's on the fence, despite what I've said, you should try this game out. Don't get sucked in by the microtransactions. You don't need to, because this game is perfectly enjoyable without them. You will struggle a little bit in the end game if you don't have an energy activator and stuff, but like, there's still so much content. There's so much content in the game to do. I've only sort of been dipping my feet into hard mode recently. I've not done any hard mode Colossuses yet, but I've done a lot of hard mode farming for materials and a lot of hard mode outposts and things like that. So I'm sort of getting towards the stage where I like can say I know what I'm talking about. I have a much better idea of how the game functions and stuff like that now. So like, you can sort of trust me a little bit here. Like, don't blindly trust me, of course. Feel free to watch my gameplay if you're a little bit shaky. I'm still a fair bit behind on my recordings, but I have completed the game at this point, just not on camera. Like, I just need to get all that edited and uploaded. But yeah, like, give the game a go. I think you don't have anything to lose. You don't have to spend money. The shooting is fun. The movement is fun. The general idea of the world is fun. The story could do with a little bit of extra work, but it's serviceable. It takes you from A to B. There's no issue with it. Yeah, there's a lot of things to progress with in the game, and it's just genuinely a good time. It still has an active community for now, and hopefully it stays that way. Yeah, that's about it, really. I would give this game a solid score if I were to score it. I don't know what I'd give it, like an 8 out of 10 maybe. I don't know. It's not quite on the 9s or 10s sort of ratio, but like, this is up there for me. I'm really enjoying it. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Farewell.